Afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you very much for joining us. I am Caroline Veronilla of World Vision Philippines, your host for today. I am honestly excited for our webinar this afternoon because aside from our very relevant topic, we have also invited amazing, empowered women to inspire us with their wisdom and stories. But before I introduce them to you, allow me to acknowledge the presence of the employees from our corporate sponsor, White and Case. Maraming salamat po for joining us this afternoon. And of course, sa ating individual sponsors who are here with us. Hello po sa inyo. Magandang hapon. I hope you're having a very pleasant day. We would also like to acknowledge the presence of our blogger friends in attendance. Berlin Domingo of Mommy Berlin, Iris Acosta of Pinay Ads, Iris Pulga of Entrepreneur, Ruth De La Cruz of RuthDeLaCruz.com, Marjorie Uy of Living Marjourney, Anne Feliarme of It's A or Nothing, Sigrid Law of Lovingly Mama, Lou Ventigan of Lemon Green Tea, Mylene Aurelio of MyleneAurelio.com, Cher Mendoza of Purple Princess Playground, Judy Ann Teves of Bogies, Wonderland, and blogger Ruby Caberte. Again, thank you for joining us in this afternoon of empowerment. So feel free to also comment some greetings in our chat thread so we can interact with each other. We are also streaming live right now via World Vision Philippines YouTube channel. So kaway-kaway sa ating viewers ngayon sa YouTube. If there's anyone there right now, show some love by commenting where you are watching from at this moment. So, hello sa ating mga viewers. We also encourage our participants to share this live stream on your social media accounts so many can join us in this webinar. Very timely webinar, and we're really so excited because we have so amazing speakers that we have invited for this one. As most of us know, we are celebrating International Women's Month this March. Kaya naman, Happy International Women's Month sa ating mga kababaihan ngayon. And for this year, the international movement's campaign theme is #Break the Bias. #Break the Bias. Imagine a gender equal world, a world where our differences are recognized and valued. Imagine niyo yon. Grabe, ang inspiring nun siguro, di ba? And what a world that would be. So yes, as part of the World Vision family, it is natural for us to focus and look after the welfare of children we serve. But today, we encourage you to be part of a movement where your uniqueness is celebrated. So we have been looking outward. Ngayon naman, we will look inward. And now, if you are ready for our webinar, can you comment in our chat box, "I will be a wellness champion for myself." Again, that's "I will be a wellness champion for myself." So tara, samahan niyo ako sa movement na ito. Andrew Domingo, "I will be a wellness champion for myself." Maylene, B, AC, June, Alexandra, yes, keep them coming, guys. Let's be a wellness champion for ourselves. Yun yung magiging mantra natin for this webinar. Yes, I'm seeing more comments coming in. Maraming salamat, guys. Keep them coming. At while you are typing, allow me to introduce now our first speaker today. Sabi ko sa inyo kanina, we invited amazing, empowered women for our webinar. Kaya naman, huwag na natin itong patagalin pa. Our first speaker today is no other than Miss Ayin Bernos. Miss Ayin Bernos is a proud World Vision sponsor and the founder of Morena The Label, a clothing line that celebrates sun-kissed skin, body positivity, and everything in between. She is also the CEO of the recently launched makeup brand, Caillou Beauty. She is a known content creator on TikTok where she teaches basic English, among others, while also co-hosting the Camp Confidence radio podcast. Embodying the true Filipina beauty, she competed in the 2021 Miss Universe Philippines pageant. To tackle a negative and positive self-talk, a wellness champion herself, and truly an inspiration for us to work towards a world free of bias, stereotypes, and discrimination, let's give a warm welcome to Miss Ayin Bernos.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Good afternoon. And thank you so much, World Vision, for having me today. I'm so excited to finally be talking to you, especially on International Women's Month. And for our theme for today, diba, be a wellness champion for ourselves, for yourself. And I think this is just very perfect because how can we give something that we don't have, diba? So for me, our topic is going to be all about positive versus negative self-talk. And this is something that I really take to heart kasi I've learned through experience how to gain more positive self-talk, especially with everything that has been going on social media and recently, like what Miss Caroline said, the Miss Universe pageant. So basically, we are going to talk about how we speak to ourselves. Ayan. I have a question for everyone here watching on Facebook, YouTube, and on Zoom. Next slide, please. How do you guys speak to yourself? Would you say positive or negative in general? Can I see it in the chat box? Positive or negative kayo? Ako, I would say it depends on the day. I try to be as positive as possible, as much as I can talaga. Pero, it is difficult. That's why we try to have this conversation so we can be reminded, Ayan. Ang dami nagsabi, both, depends, sometimes. Okay. I have another question for you guys. Next slide, please. Which of these sound familiar to you? Number one, bakit ko ba kasi ginawa to? Number two, sana all. Sana all. I'm sure somebody has said that. And number three, at least I tried. 'Di ba? Oh, ang namin nagsasabi, one daw. Bakit ko ba kasi ginawa to? Bakit ko ba pinasok to? Nakaka-relate ako sa inyo guys because same. And sometimes minsan napapasana all ka rin, when you see other people doing so well, especially on social media, right? Ayan. We have a pretty good mix here on the Zoom chat box. Medyo 1, 2, 3 tayo. Pero sana we get to number 3. At least I tried. That's something that's hard to, tell ourselves, especially pagka nahihirapan tayo. Pero ayan. Okay, next slide, please. I want to emphasize this. Self-talk is our inner dialogue. When nobody is watching, when nobody is listening, how do you talk to yourself? Paano ba yung pakikipag-usap mo sa sarili mo? Because at the end of the day, we ourselves, we are our best friends. We are stuck with ourselves. And that conversation is so important. Imagine just by reading comments on social media, just by hearing comments from your relatives, sometimes that conversation can affect us, right? That can affect our day, that can affect our whole year, our dreams, our life. What more? Our inner dialogue. How we talk to ourselves is so important because that dictates how we choose to live our life, how we work on things, how we think about our dreams, our aspirations, and our decisions. So hopefully today I can shed light into having a more positive self-talk again because I've had to work through it myself. So again, it is easier said than done. Next slide, please. Especially, oh my gosh, last year when I joined Miss Universe Philippines, I thought I knew everything about self-care and self-love and positive self-talk until I was, in front of everybody, and all of a sudden I had to question myself na parang sabi ko, kaya ko ba talaga to? Because all of a sudden, the spotlight was on me na hindi ako masyado prepared. Kasi for a quick background, for those of you who are not familiar with my story, I joined Miss Universe Philippines at 5'3". 5'3" yung height ko. So to a lot of people, that was unacceptable. And medyo kakaiba siya. Yun yung first time na nawala yung height requirements sa Miss Universe. So a lot of people were telling me na I didn't belong there, blah, blah, blah. And so that just made me have a hard time with my self-talk. Because for a long time, positive naman siya. Kaso when there are external factors, it's quite hard to do it. But again, it is possible, it's workable, we can do something about it. So let me go through some negative and positive self-talks for you guys. Okay, so first one, kukwentuhan ko kayo because I think for me, it's easiest to speak from experience. I am not an expert. I still go to therapy. I have my own mental health issues, but I can speak from experience. So ito talaga mga na-experience ko. So negative self-talk, an example is, ang pangit ng suot ko, I cannot be seen like this. Sobrang na-pressure ako, guys, to look perfect kasi we were being photographed all the time. But then I also had to counter that with, well, it is what it is. I need to own it. Kasi suot ko na, wala akong magagawa. And in that moment, sometimes you need to accept what is in my control and what isn't under my control. So pagka wala na talaga siyang control, just own it. Just accept that this is the reality. And make sure that other people also see na you like what you are. You like what you see in yourselves. And sometimes, again, easier said than done, pero sometimes, kailangan talaga, you just own it. Kasi kapag pinapangunahan ko ng, pangit, oh no, I'm scared, it dictates how I feel eh. So, ayun. The next one is, I've had this a lot. oh my gosh, they are going to obliterate me in the comments. Lalo na when I was trying to during the runway challenge. One of my weaknesses kasi was my walk. I was so scared na lumabas yung video ng runway namin. I was like, oh my gosh, they are going to obliterate. Yun talaga yung word, obliterate me in the comment section. But let's dissect this. Hindi naman talaga ako ma-obliterate, you know? Because first of all, wala namang comment na nakamamatay at least like physically sa totoo, like they cannot physically obliterate me. So having that in my head was not healthy at all. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, they're going to obliterate me in the comments, what did I say instead? I said, I'm so brave for choosing to do this at all. And this is me reclaiming my choice na ginusto ko to, right? Na ako yung pumili na sumali na to. And I should be proud of myself kasi kahit na alam ko yung magiging reaction ng mga tao, I'm still brave enough to go through it. And sometimes, we all need to do that. We need to remind ourselves na ginusto natin to, we chose this, and kahit na mahirap, ginawa natin. So that in itself is something to be proud of. The next one is mukha akong kawawa. Oh my gosh, guys, napaka-negative naman ng self-talk na yan. Mukha akong kawawa. And it's something that I also heard from other people kasi nga because of my height na sabi daw, pagka tinabi ako sa matangkad, mukha akong kawawa. And it was so hard for me to undo that mindset. Kasi inisip ko, shocks, like, but what if tama sila? What if mukhang akong kawawa? But then, I remembered na all my life, let's go to the positive self-talk. All my life, I wanted to be a beauty queen. So the positive self-talk for that is, what? I get to be with my idols. I get to be with the women na I thought I would only see on TV. Hindi ako mukhang kawawa. I belong here because I stand here. I get to be part of them. I get to be one of them. And that is so much more empowering than telling yourself na, bakit ako nandito? Hindi ako dapat dito. Mukha akong assistant. No. You belong with them. And for me, that was validating na sinasabi ko sa sarili ko, I get to be with the people I look up to. And I belong here too. Next is nakakahiya sa mga sumusuporta at naniniwala sa akin. Kasi what if I don't perform well, di ba? Siyempre, nakaka-pressure yon. Another external pressure na sometimes we can't get away from. There are people who support you, who believe in you, and sometimes you don't think na you're doing enough for them to please them. Pero on the other side of the spectrum, buti na lang talaga may naniniwala at may sumusuporta sa akin. Because imagine, what would that be like kung wala, di ba? So again, it's just flipping the narrative and reminding yourself that we are grateful to have what we have. And if you have people who believe in you enough, na nape-pressure ka, then maybe, be grateful na may naniniwala at may sumusuporta. So for me, I had to also learn to alter that narrative. Be thankful na buti na lang. Kahit na I'm unconventional, especially in that industry, some people still understood where I was coming from and rooted for me. And that was a positive thing. And lastly, isa pa to. And I'm sure ito, hindi to nag-stay sa pageant industry. I'm sure a lot of you dreamers, doers, sinasabi niyo to sa sarili niyo, sa mga sarili niyong trabaho, passion projects. Bakit ko ba to ginagawa sa sarili ko? Can I get a heart if you have said this to yourself recently? Bakit ko ba ginagawa to sa sarili ko? Did you guys hear that? Did you guys see that? Did you guys say that? Sorry. Bakit ko ba ginagawa to sa sarili ko? Ayan. I'm sure hindi lang ako yung may dumadating sa point na, you regret to a certain degree na parang, bakit ko to pinasok? Why did I think I was capable of this? But again, we flip the narrative by saying, for example, ako, ginusto ko to, papanindigan ko to. And I think there is just so much power in owning our choices, in owning our responsibilities, and making sure na maalala natin sa sarili natin na we had a say in the situation that we are in. I think, if anything, positive self-talk is all about knowing that you are not helpless, that you have the capacity to change the outcome and to make the outcome favorable for you by having a positive mindset, by telling yourself that you can do this, by telling yourself that you can work through this. So ayun. So with that being said, I want to do some practice with you all. So for those of you who are in the Zoom chat, can you guys give me a hello or an emoji or something if you guys are listening, you're still watching and you want to participate? Yes, thank you Bernadette, thank you Anne, Judy. Ayan, I see you guys. Thank you so much. Ayan, I want to do some practice with you all because after all, this is a webinar and I want to see how you would translate negative self-talk into positive self-talk. Okay, if you guys are ready, let's do this. So for the first one, pagka meron kayong trabaho, offer, opportunity, and you are thinking, I'm not qualified for this role, what would you say para maging positive yung self-talk na to? Ooh, ang ganda ng mga sagot agad. Okay, Mylene says, I can learn, I am willing to learn. B says, this is a great opportunity to learn more. Andrew says, I can still learn. Abby, I should give it a try. Anne, eto, gusto ko si Anne. Sabi niya, I am overqualified for this role, really. Yan, go lang ng go. This is a chance for me to get better. Laban lang. I love all of these. Try natin, wala naman mawawala. And I definitely agree with you guys because oftentimes when we see opportunities presented to us and it's a little intimidating, for us sometimes we think na, masyado tong pang-importanteng tao tong role na to. Itong mga tasks na to, masyado siyang malaki for me. We think we're not qualified. But sometimes, what if that's just a mindset thing, diba? I really like that you guys pointed out that you can learn. And that's also what I tell myself. What I do not know, I can learn. And it's important to remind ourselves and people around us na we have the ability to learn, to grow. And maybe in this role, that's just what's gonna happen. Okay, the next one is, ang pangit ko. Ayan, para sa mga may self-image issues, ang pangit ko. Anong sasabihin niyo sa sarili niyo instead of ang pangit ko? V said, I am beautiful in my own unique way. Unique ako. I am wonderfully made. I am extraordinary. Guys, alam niyo ba, na parang gumaganda yung tingin ko sa sarili ko just by reading your comments. Because it really is empowering just to say it out loud. I am rare. There is no one like me. I am wonderfully and fearfully made by God. I am limited edition. Pack. Ayan. Sabi ni Mylene, at least may talent ako. Fair enough. Ayan. Ako, when I was younger, sinasabi ko to sa sarili ko, ang pangit ko, because I was insecure about my skin. But I learned na, there is only one Ayin. And I don't want the only Ayin in this world to be somebody who loathes herself. I have one chance to appreciate myself in this lifetime. If I have to choose between that or this, I'll choose this. Maganda ako with everything that makes me me. My scars makes me me. My scars make me me. My color makes me me. And I decide that I am good enough. So I hope that you guys decide that you are good enough too. You're beautiful enough too. All right, the next one. My body looks bad in this outfit. And ay nako, body image is such a touchy subject. And for this reason, ang dami talagang affected by this. Even me, honestly, during the pageant, sobrang hyper-focused nung ng buong mundo. sa I felt like my physical body was um even more nahimay. But how would you say this? Yeah, sabi ni Speak Out Sam, I can work this outfit. I love that. I am in great shape. That's so good. I am great shape. I also like saying, this body allows me to live. So, this is just an outfit. I wear this outfit. Ako. Sabi ni Mommy Sigrid, realist naman kasi ako. Yes. You know what? Another thing that we can say is, for example, this outfit actually does look bad and you're a realist. You can say, well, how can I make this better? How can I make this better? You still address the issue at hand. Now you can make it better, you know. Pero at the end of the day, you don't pity yourself. You don't think na you are less just because this looks bad on you. What can I do to make this work? That's also a good positive self-talk to have. Next one. Okay, I don't think I'm good enough for this opportunity. It's similar to the first one, you have a role. Pero this one, for example, nabigyan kayo ng opportunity once in a lifetime. You don't think you're ever gonna do this again, pero it's intimidating. What will you say? Ako, for example, nung 5'3" Miss Universe, wala akong training. Sasabihin ko, this will be a great experience. I will make myself better. For me, guys, what I say is, this will make a really good story. If I fail, this is going to be a good story. If I succeed, then thank you, Lord. I was able to do it. Whatever happens, naman, at the end of the day, you get something out of it. So say yes, right? The best is yet to come, according to Mylene. I love this. Do your best because YOLO. Totoo naman. Okay, eto. A little on the romantic side, finally. Why would anyone love me? Oh, sino nakasabi na nito? This was something that I had to work through for a long time. Why would anyone love me? Lalo na single ako ng matagal. Oh, have you guys had this conversation with yourself? Why would anyone love me? Anong sasabihin nyo in the situation na you are asking yourself, why would anyone love me? Oh, hindi kayo makasagot. Charot. Okay. Sabi ni Chel, because I have so much love to give. I love that. Because I have so much love to give. Sabi ni Jeka, pass. Oy, Jeka, walang pass dito because we are going to love ourselves today. Sabi ni and because I'm so smart, conversations will not be boring and I cook really good adobo. Oy, nako, ang swerte naman yan. Sabi ni B, why would I not love me? That's really nice. Sabi ni Speak Out Sam, I made it this far so I can share my self-love to others. I love that. See, guys, I really do believe that any negative self-talk, you can translate into something positive. Kahit na mahihirapan tayo minsan to think about it. And sometimes it's so tempting because it's so easy to just rely on negative self-talk. Pero if we think about it, if we give ourselves time, we are capable of turning these things into positive affirmations. And I hope that you can affirm yourselves. All right, so just to wrap things up, here are some reminders that I want to leave with all of you. So the first one is, own your narrative. Choose the person you want to be. And I want to highlight the word own and choose, the words own and choose, because there is, again, something so empowering about knowing na decision mo yan, na ginusto mo yan. So accept the responsibility to run your life, own your life, choose the person you want to be. Number 2, you are capable of improvement and celebration at the same time. Because a lot of people think na, oh, wala pa ako dun so I'm not allowed to celebrate yet. But you guys, pwede tayo mag-celebrate habang hindi pa natin na-meet yung goals natin sa gym. Habang nandun pa lang tayo sa point in our career where we are still hustling. Pwede tayo mag-celebrate in the middle of our journey. So please allow yourselves to celebrate. And lastly, we will always be a work in progress. So might as well be the happy kind. I'm sure sa buong buhay natin, right now, tomorrow, 10 years from now, when you're old and surrounded by everyone you love, or maybe when you're old and alone, who knows? We never know the future. But at the end of our lives, we will continue to be a work in progress. Never tayo mawawala sa cycle of growth. So while we are growing, while we are evolving, I hope that you choose to be the kind of evolution that is happy, the kind of work in progress that is celebrating being a work in progress. I hope that after today, you get to look at yourself in the mirror, even though you are halfway there or not even halfway there, or like at a milestone, in the middle of a milestone. Kung nasan man kayo sa roller coaster of life, I hope you take time to appreciate na you are here, na you get to be here, and that you have the ability to celebrate all of it. So thank you so much for having me. And I hope that my story, as well as our little practice, helped you reaffirm the narrative that you have within yourselves. And I hope that here we get to be a wellness champion, not just for others, but most importantly, for ourselves. So thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, World Vision, for having me. I'm so happy to be part of this family. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that very inspiring, positive self-talk, Miss Ayin. I'm sure maraming nakarelate, marami tayong natutunan. And even I, while you were speaking, parang naaalala ko yung mga moments in my life when I was doubting myself, I was talking myself down. And I agree with you. It's very important that we are aware of how we speak to ourselves kasi doon din magsisimula kung paano tayo mag-react sa mga sitwasyon na kung saan man tayo. And so, it's a very good reminder, and I'm sure maraming na-inspire kay Miss Ayin. I've been seeing comments both on Zoom, on YouTube, and even on Facebook kung saan live na tayo. Yes naman. So hello sa ating mga viewers on Facebook. Keep the conversations coming. I've seen people responding sa exercises ni Miss Ayin, and we still have another speaker. So let's continue being participative. And I would just also like to recognize Sam of Speak Out. Sam, thank you so much for being here, one of our blogger friends. Now, guys, I'm sure nabitin pa kayo doon. So if you have any questions for Miss Ayin, please feel free to comment them in our comment section or in our chat thread, both on Facebook, on Zoom, and on YouTube. And we'll try to answer that later during our Q&A session. So ayan, again, if you have questions for Miss Ayin, feel free to chat them or put them in our chat box, in our comment section, and we'll try to answer at least 3 during our Q&A session later. Now, I hope everyone is ready for our second and last session of learning and reflection. But before I introduce our second speaker, can you comment in our chat box, "I am ready to break the bias"? Again, please comment in our chat box, in our comment section below, "I am ready to break the bias," just like what Miss Ayin did when she joined the Miss Universe Philippines 2021 pageant. Okay, I'm seeing Ginny, Lucille, Amy, Sam, Malu joining us in our movement to break the bias. We are also seeing here comments from our Facebook page. Ayan. Just keep the comments coming, and let's embody all that we are speaking right now. Say it to the universe. So kung hindi naman kayo, you're shy to type them in, feel free to maybe a heart or smile, react na lang dyan. So we know na you're still with us, you're still awake and alive and kicking. Thank you everyone for being so participative again. Let's just continue making this a safe space for our conversation and our interaction. Now, for our second speaker, I am so excited to introduce to you Miss Joyce Trevino, who is a multi-talented TV host and presenter, a content creator, and a proud World Vision ambassador. She also hosts the top-ranking podcast for millennials, Adulting with Joyce Spring, where she talks about all adulting-related topics, including love, faith, career, and a whole lot more. Her daring pursuit to live life purposely is already impacting more than 1,300,000 lives and counting across all platforms. To talk about career and relationships, a wellness champion as well, and a mentor for us to work towards a world that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive. Let's give it up for Miss Joyce Trevino.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Caroline. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. How is everyone doing here this afternoon? Once again, my name is Joyce Trevino, and I'm super excited to be your second speaker for today. Before I start, I just wanted to welcome Ayin to the World Vision family, and of course, thank her for that wonderful presentation and wonderful talk on how important self-talk is in affecting the way that we view ourselves and the way that we conduct ourselves in our work and in our world. So before we start, I just wanted to get to know each and every one of you. I promised Kuya June na 20 minutes lang yung talk ko. I will try my hardest to do that. By God's grace, i-claim ko na kaya kong matapos in 20 minutes. Itong usually 2 to 3 hours na talk ko. Kaya natin to. So I need you guys to answer quickly in the chat box if you want to get this going. Okay? So my talk for today is called Purposeful Productivity, because, I was tasked to think about and give a webinar on how important relationships are and how important outside stuff are with regards to really being able to create a wonderful, successful, and fulfilling career for each and every one of us. As we are celebrating Women's Month this March, I want to also greet all the women here today. At yes, yung nag-unmute po. If you want to co-host with me, pwede naman. Pero kung hindi, pwede po kayo mag-mute muna so everyone can hear me. And of course, greet each other a happy International Women's Month. Okay, so I've already said so many things, but hi again, my name is Joyce. I'm broadcasting live from down south here in Silang, Cavite. I want to know what's your name and where are you joining us from? Go! Send it in the chat box on our Zoom call. Send it in the comment section. I want to see your names and where you're watching from. Wow! We have people here from LA, from Cebu, from Cavite as well, from QC, from Manila, from Lipa City, Bulacan, diba? Ang dami. From Qatar, from Riyadh, from Bohol, Aklan. Diba? Carl from Mars, joke, Cebu pala. Ethel from Davao. We have from Mandaue, Cebu. Chel from Taguig, from Rizal, from Marikina, all over the Philippines and all over the world. Maraming salamat for joining us here this afternoon. Well, I guess a little bit of a background before I go on and do my talk. I'm Joyce Trevino, and I am a podcast host, a TV host, and a content creator. Of course, a keynote speaker as well. I've been working as a host, as a broadcaster for the past 9 years, and I've been doing so all by God's grace. But I guess, and actually I don't guess, I know that my most important role as of the moment is being a wife to my wonderful husband, Juancho. We've been together and we've been married for the past 2 years now. We actually recently did Devo with our World Vision family, which I absolutely loved. And of course, I have an 8-month-old. I can't even say that he's already 8 months. 8-month-old son named Eliam. And this is our family photo. But I'm also proud to say that I have been a World Vision ambassador since 2017 and a child sponsor since 2012 or 2011, my goodness. I just remember stumbling upon in Trinoma of World Vision Philippines, and I had just gotten my first job at that time, and it really touched my heart, the vision that World Vision has for children and Filipino families. So I signed up to be a child sponsor, and so I wanted to thank each and every one of our child sponsors here who are joining us in our webinar for today. And hopefully what I'll be talking about today will be something that inspires you and encourages you in your journey of, since we built up on what Ayin talked about, which is the importance of positive and empowering self-talk. We now have to move on and see, okay, how do I bring that wonderful self-talk to apply it to the world that I now belong to and I now am moving around in? So let's start off with this wonderful quote from Terry Orlick, who says, "The heart of human excellence often begins to beat when you discover a pursuit that absorbs you, frees you, challenges you, or gives you a sense of meaning, joy, or passion." I wanted to challenge you today and say that it doesn't matter how good you are in talking to yourself if you're not able to actually reflect that in the world around you. Now, I'm not saying that self-talk isn't important. It is absolutely important because that is from where everything good overflows. An empty cup cannot give to anything good, right? So you have to fill yourself up first before you can overflow good things to the world. But once you've actually filled your own cup, it will be emptied out so quickly if you just keep it to yourself. And so the beauty of actually knowing yourself, having positive self-talk, and believing in yourself is not only for yourself, but also for those around you, for a bigger purpose than our own. So for today, I will quickly try to go through this entire presentation with 3 simple points. The first one is to find your purpose. Now, I know this sounds like a big and daunting task, but we will try and do it together. So that's the first one. The second one is to persevere in your daily habits. This is basically the practical things that you can be doing to live a purposeful life that's also very productive and that aims for excellence. And third and finally, to remember that you can gain a different perspective. It will all make sense, hopefully, after we finish our talk in less than 20 minutes. Di ba, Kuya June? Ayan. Ayan pala. Sabi ni Kuya Jeloy, 8 years na akong sponsor sa World Vision Philippines. Yay! O, di ba? Okay. So, let's do our first point for today. Purpose or finding your why. I'd like to encourage everyone, guys ha, pwede kayong mag-comment or mag-send ng messages nyo through the chat box or in the comment section if you have any questions or meron kayong points that you also would like to share throughout my talk. Here is my first question for you guys. Para saan ka bumabangon? What makes you wake up and get up in the morning? Go! Send it in our chat box right now. I want to know, para saan kayo bumabangon? Sherry Lynn says, para sa pamilya. Ang dami ng for my family. For my dreams. Kuya Jeloy says, para sa bills. Ate Lucille says, for the Lord. Ang daming for my family. I love Erica's answer, to fulfill God's purpose. Tama ba? God's vision for my life. There you go. Ruth, diba? Army pala si Ruth. For BTS. Nakaka-relate ang mga fellow BTS dyan. Pangkain para sa mga anak. For my puppy, sabi ni Jeka. Sarah says, para sa BTS. Cheka! Kaligayahan ng marami, sabi ni Rona. Yes, pag hindi bumangon si Miss Rona, madaming magagalit sa Telegram. So, para sa kaligayahan ng marami, bumabangon siya sa umaga. For my family, for my dog, sabi ni Ate Patsy. Si Dana Del sabi, para kay Dance. O, diba? Sally says, para sa kanyang family and for her dreams. Renzo also has a great answer who says, para sa kinabukasan. And of course, DP24 says, for fulfilling engineering and advocacies. Thank you so much for sharing those answers kung para saan kayo bumabangon. And I would like to tie that up with this quote from Fyodor Dostoevsky, who says, the mystery of human existence lies not just in staying alive, but in finding something to live for. So, today, as we talk about productivity and as we talk about, really growing yourself and able to step into your utmost potential and actually grab opportunities that are being presented to you, I want to challenge you with the idea that if you do not have a purpose, if you do not have something to live for, something that you look forward to be able to do the things that you're doing every day, that will crush your soul. It's so important to remember every single day, what is your purpose? If you have a bigger purpose in mind, hindi ka matitinag ng pagod, hindi ka matitinag ng mga nangyayari sa news, o kaya naman ng mga discouragements, o kaya naman ng mga negative comments or ng mga challenges that you face. Because when we have a bigger purpose that we're constantly getting up in the morning for and really working for and really challenging ourselves for, that's the push and the pull that we need to continuously move forward. So I challenge you that the most important thing right now that you have to figure out is your purpose in life. Ano nga ba ang mission at vision para sa buhay mo? Once you have this will be the driving force that catapults you from where you are to where God has planned you to be. And unless we know that, unless you're sure of your purpose in life, unless you at least work towards in finding your purpose in life, you'll constantly be pulled in different directions and you'll constantly be distracted by so many things happening in the world. As a young woman, this is one of the struggles that I really had to deal with. I would think very good at a lot of things. When I was in my early 20s, I was hosting on TV already. I was a radio jock. I was traveling around the world. I studied abroad. I did all of these things. But at the end of every day, after all of my great big adventures, I felt so empty. And it was because success is different from fulfillment. A lot of us think that once we find success, once we find and finish our goal, that we will find our fulfillment. But that's not necessarily true. Our fulfillment comes from knowing our purpose and working towards it. So I challenge you now to really think about what is your purpose? What gives your life meaning? What is the mission and vision of your life? So I think one of the biggest questions that I had to really grapple with is to connect the clock and the compass. What does this mean? The idea of time is, it has two different words in the Greek language. It's kairos and chronos. So chronos basically is the ticking. It's the clock. It's the passing of time. And kairos actually means what you do with that time. So the chronos is always ticking. It's a perishable good. We must invest time. And it's something that constantly moves forward without you even wanting it to move forward. That's chronos. But kairos, on the other hand, is what you do with that time. This is your why, or this is the direction by which you're using your time to move forward. This is what drives us. So the kairos, the compass, is what drives us when willpower isn't enough. So as we know, all companies, maybe most companies, if not all companies, have mission and vision statements. So, kailangan natin ng mission, vision statement. Pero, ang iniisip ng mga tao, hindi kumpanya lang yung merong mission and vision statement. That's not applicable to individuals, Mission and vision statements, those are only for mga formal types. But I urge you can actually use the idea of mission and vision statements to help you formulate also and figure out what you can do with your life that's actually purposeful and has really deep meaning. So a couple of things that you can ask yourself in figuring out what is your mission and your vision. So think about your mission as your drive and think about your vision as your direction. So when you're figuring out what is your mission in life, ano ba yung mga kailangan mong gawin? You ask yourself, what do I do? Whom do I serve? And how do I serve them? Pag vision naman, the questions that you can ask yourself are, what are my hopes and dreams? What am I doing for the greater good of those around me? Who or what am I inspiring to change for the better? So you notice how mission is really focused on the self. What do I do? What am I good at? What can I bring to the table? But vision is the bigger encapsulating idea that you're going towards to bring your mission into. So yung mission mo, ikaw yun, and what you're able to bring to the table. But your vision is something that's outside of you, that's bigger than you, that is really focused on serving. And really, for me as a Christian, my vision is really to glorify God in all that He has blessed me with. So here are a couple of mission statements that I'm no longer going to go through, just mine na lang. So for example, my mission statement is to become the best host and podcaster in the Philippines and help millennials and young adults to find purpose in their work and maximize their individual potential for the greater good. See how my mission statement is based and founded on what I do, what I'm good at, and what I can bring to the table. That's my mission. But my vision statement is something bigger than myself. My chief end is to glorify God and enjoy Him forever, to point people back to Christ by doing my work excellently and maximizing my time, talents, and treasures. So I take what I've got and then I bring it to the world to glorify God. So here's my next activity for you guys. Write a simple, workable, personal why, your mission, vision statement. So I'm going to ask you, I know this is a hard question to answer, but at least try. You don't have to send it to the chat box if you feel like it's a very sensitive or personal thing. But what is your big why? Ano sa tingin nyo yung mission nyo sa buhay na to? What is the vision that you have for your life? I like here what Bernadette shared. She says her vision, or I guess her mission, is peace of mind. That's really something that she wants to be able to achieve. If you guys can send in, or at least even write down in your own journal or a piece of paper right now what your mission and vision statement is, try to write that down. Very simple. It doesn't have to be super complicated. Again, these are some of the questions that you can do. Number 2, of course, is perseverance. These are the daily habits for mental health, well-being, and productivity. So I wanted to go through some practical things that you can do for your mental and physical health and for your productivity. So for your mental and physical health, 3 things that I wanted to share with you. The idea first of sharpen the saw. This means that, for example, if you're given a block of wood and also a butter knife, do you think that you can cut that block of wood with just your butter knife? Of course not, right? So the idea of sharpen the saw is being able to sharpen yourself so that when you bring yourself into situations where you have to work, where you have to apply yourself already, ready na yung katawan mo, ready na yung mental health mo, ready na yung spiritual health mo, ready na yung emotional health mo. So work out on sharpening your saw before you go into situations. So you can do workout, you can journal, you can eat mindfully. There are a lot of things that you can do to sharpen the saw. Number 2, rest deliberately. And resting deliberately means that you're not resting only when you're tired. It means that you're carving out time to rest and recuperate and really be able to be intentional about the way that you spend your time. You know, the reason why so many of us feel burnt out and feel like we can no longer move forward and do the things that we're doing is because we're constantly exhausting ourselves with one task after another. And so if you want to be successful, if you want to be productive, and if you want to be purposeful, you have to know that rest is not a footnote in your career. It's not a footnote in your success, but it is actually a very important, huge part of it. Be intentional about it, be deliberate about it, and carve out time. Don't just see if you get the time to do it. So rest deliberately. Third and finally, create human connection. Find an accountability partner. Connect with your community. No man is created to just thrive on their own. What I've seen with beautiful people, successful people, and people who are able to really do things that they're proud of and that they can push themselves out of the comfort zone. Like, for example, Ayin, you know, she constantly talks about her support system in her family and the people that she's working with. You know, you can't do anything substantial if you don't have a community of people that are empowering you and encouraging you. So I urge you to find that community of people. Of course, in productivity naman, there are also three things that you can figure out: time management, task management, and productivity tools. Since I don't have time anymore, I can't go through them one by one, but if you have any questions, you can check out my website, joyspring.com, which has a lot of articles on these three things. Here's another activity for you guys to do. You can take a photo of this para magawa nyo mamaya after our talk. You can write a reactive or proactive and personal work from home schedule. Now, I say this because you cannot really be productive and do a lot of good things kung wala kang some semblance of structure. And since we are staying at home right now, since most of us are staying at home right now, it is now up to us to create those kinds of schedules. When we have structure, it's easier for our brain to understand, okay, what are my tasks and my responsibilities, and what are the free times that I have to be able to grow and cultivate things that I love, that are my passions, and that will feed my soul, because those things are actually very, very important. Kuya Jaloy understands and really agrees too. Schedules and structures are good things. Finally, I wanted to share with you for the second point a quote from Lao Tzu that says, watch your thoughts for they become your words. Watch your words for they become your actions. Watch your actions for they become your habits. And watch your habits for they become your character. And watch your character for it becomes your destiny. This quote encapsulates the second point of my talk, which is, if you want to be productive and if you want to be purposeful, pay attention and really focus on the small atomic habits that you do every single day. As Ayin mentioned earlier, the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you speak to others, whether you speak life, or love to yourself and to others, those things compound and they eventually fuel the destiny that you have. So be careful about those things and be mindful about the way that you speak to yourself, be mindful about the way that you carry out yourself in your workplace, in your families, in your close circles, and even on social media. Schedule your priorities. Don't just prioritize your schedule. Again, it's different. You don't have to be busy for you to be productive. To have intentional, purposeful productivity, you have to make sure that you're scheduling your priorities and not just prioritizing your schedule or being busy for no reason at all. Third and finally, Kuya Jun, overtime ako ng konti. Pasensya na po. Patapos na ako, promise. Perspective. Third and finally, looking at the bigger picture. I wanted to share with you a change in perspective. Remember that small changes we make in order to stay productive and on track today pave the way to our future successes. Our lives have the power to impact others. I think with social media right now, a lot of us feel this pressure that I have to be doing something big, or I have to be a big person or a big personality. I have to have a big following for me to be able to make a big impact in the world. But in reality, small changes within yourself, small changes within your community over a period of time actually has the power to really impact the lives of others. I guess tying it with the vision of World Vision Philippines, right? Just one child, sponsoring one child, you're able to impact in such a profound way. So never think of the way that you're looking at yourself and the way that you're doing your work as, ako lang naman to eh. It doesn't matter how I do my work. It doesn't matter how I talk to myself. It doesn't matter how I deal with my life, because it's just me. But in reality, our lives have the power to impact others. And I wanted to share with you this photo from Varanasi, India. And this is a photo of a weaver in one of the capitals of weaving in India. And as you can see here from the machine, there are different fabrics, right? Like different fabrics, magkakaiba yung kulay niya, pero maliliit na strands lang siya. Ganyan lang yung itsura niya. But do you know that from these small strands that don't really have a pattern, that doesn't really look like much, beautiful patterns of saris and silk and clothing like these come about? This is just a visual aid for you to realize that your life has purpose and your life has value. If you're feeling empty right now, if you're feeling unmotivated, if you're feeling like you don't matter, I am here to tell you that since you are in the Imago Dei, you are made in the image of God, your life has value and your life has such a beautiful purpose in the grand scheme of things. Our lives are small threads in the beautiful scheme of things that God has prepared. We are all integral threads to the fabric of life. You might think that you're just one of these threads, na parang ako lang naman yung isa sa mga white threads dyan, sa orange thread na yan. Doesn't matter who I am, diba? Pero hindi mabubuo itong magandang pattern na to kung wala yung mga maliliit na singular threads na yon. So remember that we are all integral threads to the fabric of life. And remember that, one small change that you do every single day, the way that you live your life, the way that you give to others, the way that you have your purpose, the way that you encourage others, all of those things, no matter how small it is, has the power to impact the fabric of life. It has the power to impact your families, your communities, and our country even. So I challenge you today to write one small change that you want to start, or one person whose life you want to impact with one small act of kindness. Minsan, alam nyo, naalala ko when I was, I didn't come from an affluent background. Mahirap lang yung pamilya namin. So, nung nag-uumpisa akong mag-donate sa World Vision, napakalaki na during that time, nung 650 pesos sa akin. I was working while I was studying at that time. And parang sabi ko, shucks, parang hindi ko ata kayang ibigay yung 650 pesos per month. Pero ngayon, 750 na siya. Pero trinay ko lang. And I realized that, that one small act of kindness that I'm able to do impacts so profoundly the life of one other human being. And that just touched me in a way that I can't explain, that really touched my heart, because that gave me a lot of encouragement na hindi ko kailangan mag-donate ng 2 million pesos for me to make an impact. All I need is the right intention and the right action to actually have a purposeful impact on someone's life. And you can do that too. It could be something simple. It could be you starting to work out. It could be you writing a journal. It could be you reaching out to a friend of yours who you know is going through a hard time. It could be you drinking more water. It could be you sponsoring a child through worldvision.org.ph. It could be something small. But just start with that. Sometimes the biggest challenge is just starting something good in your life for it to overflow goodness into the lives of others. So, as I mentioned, the top 3 things that I talked about today, hopefully I didn't speak too long or too fast, are to find your purpose, to persevere in your daily habits, and to gain a different perspective. Again, I want to encourage each and everyone here today that your life has a purpose. The way that you do your work, the way that you deal with your family, the way that you talk to yourself, and the way that you carry out yourself into the world has a purpose. You have so much value as a human being. And I pray that this talk really encouraged you to figure out ano nga ba ang mission ko sa mundong ito. How can I be of service to others? How can I love others more intentionally? What changes can I make in my life so that I walk this earth with so much grace, passion, goodness, and love that people always remember it, even when I'm far gone. For me, it's always about glorifying God in everything that I do, and I hope it's something that you find too. Once again, my name is Joyce Trevino. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for having me as I speak here on World Vision Philippines. We are doing a Q&A right after, so please do stick around. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much for that very empowering session, Miss Joyce. Grabe. I really love how you emphasize the importance of knowing your why. And kaya nga, it reminded me of this book. It's Start with the Why by Simon Sinek. And if you're wondering if I have read this, no, not yet. But I hope to read this. And I was really pulled toward this book because I recognize na importante talaga na alam natin yung purpose natin. And because when we know our purpose, we're able to navigate through our lives. Kasi kung hindi natin alam yung mga whys natin, doon na papasok yung mga negative na mga self-talk, doon na yung magtatanong tayo, kaya ba natin to? We'll start doubting ourselves kasi nga hindi natin alam why we are doing all these things. Ano yung goals natin? Ano yung purpose natin? So, thank you so much, Miss Joyce, for that very wonderful session. Grabe, punong-puno kami ngayong hapon, and we're so also grateful for Miss Ayin. Ayan, so sinabi nga ni Miss Joyce kanina, we will have our Q&A session later. So if you have any questions for Miss Ayin and Miss Joyce, feel free to comment them in our chat box or in our comment section on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll try to pick up some interesting questions from you guys. Now, before we proceed to that, I will have a very quick photo op muna with our beautiful and empowered speakers, Miss Ayin and Miss Joy. So for our participants here on Zoom, if you can turn on your video, please do so. And let's flash our best, biggest smiles so that we can take a photo. We will be posting this in our social media accounts. But if you are not comfortable to turn on your video, or if you are having internet connection problems, it's okay, it's totally fine, we understand. But for those who can, please do open your cams. Ayan, we're seeing the different faces of our participants right now. So please do keep your smiles, and our technical team will be taking the photo in 3, 2, 1. Ayan, next. One more shot, everyone, in 3, 2, 1. Ayan, okay. Technical team, are we good? Are we good? Okay, silence means yes. Yup, sabi ni Kuya Manong. Thank you so much, Kuya Manong. And of course, to our participants, thank you so much for turning your videos on. So now the most awaited session for this afternoon is our Q&A. So I would like to ask our speakers here. Okay, there's Miss Ayin and Miss Joyce. Ayan, ako pala yung kulang. Hi, Miss Joyce, and hi, Miss Ayin. How are you both after your sessions?
I'm good. Grabe, ang inspirational talaga ni Joyce Spring. Grabe.
Iba
Grabe,
kayong
kinakabahan
dalawa.
Grabe. Yes.
Okay, so our first question for both of you for the Miss Universe crown. Okay, our question actually is, let me just pull it up here. In this day and age, what do you think would be the most important contribution that women can do, especially now that we're celebrating International Women's Month? Again, the question is, what do you think would be the most important contribution that women can do, especially now that we are celebrating International Women's Month?
Sinong mauuna?
Yung ating finalist sa Miss Universe Philippines.
Sabi ni Kuya June, candidate number 1. Okay. Yeah. So, candidate number 1. Thank you for that wonderful question, Charot. But I believe that the most important contribution of women today would be to be vocal about our stories. We all have unique experiences. We all have unique issues that we are trying to solve. And we need to take up space in this world in order to make progress. So whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're experiencing, no matter the role in society you play, I hope you tell your story. I hope you share your voice, because that is the only way that we can make changes. So yeah, that'd be mine.
Thank you, candidate number 1. Candidate number 2?
Kinamahan naman ako na candidate number 1 at 2 kami. Parang, wait lang, Ayin, pwede mo ba akong muna? Train mo muna ako. Kasi kung may candidate number 1 and 2, kailangan ko ata ng training din muna. But that's a really good question. I think, 2 things maybe. The first one is kind of tied to what Ayin said, which is authenticity. It's so important to be authentic about who you are and your story, and actually take pride in that. I think a lot of us feel like we have to suppress our voice and to suppress our experiences because we're afraid of judgment and of how society will perceive us, especially since women are held onto a higher standard for so many reasons. Like I recently read this quote, how women are expected to have children, to work as if they don't have children, and to have children as if they do not work. And that really resonated with me. That's really something that I've also been experiencing right now. So being authentic about the vulnerabilities that you have, the challenges that you face, and actually being honest about the things that you're going through is very powerful. The second thing that I would say would also be to encourage and be an ally to other women. And I say that because I feel like we have to stand up for each other. We have to really take care of each other. We have to kill the narrative that women compete against one another. We have to really take care of each other and champion for other women. Let's champion for little girls who are currently dreaming, diba? When we find our voice, when we find our authentic self, and when we find our authentic experiences and have pride in that, after that, the only sensible thing to do is to empower others to find that as well. So those would be the two things that I'd be saying.
I really love both of your thoughts. Really, storytelling is very empowering, and at the same time, when women find their voice, we are able to inspire other people. And I believe that's a very big contribution, because one girl, one woman can be a revolution. Wow! Naipasok yun. Anyway, okay, moving on to our next question. So this one is for Miss Joyce. It's from Pamela Faith Salonga. And she asked, what if you feel like you have lots of purposes to pursue? How do you know which one will fit you best?
Ooh, that's very good. I don't know if there's an easy answer to that question, but what I do know is it's so important to find an overarching vision for your life, as I mentioned earlier, and then find little missions that you can accomplish along the way. I think that's why I shared earlier, the difference between a mission and vision statement, because I think our missions throughout life changes depending on our season in life. When I was a young single woman in my early 20s, my mission was just to be successful in my career, to empower myself, to find confidence, to grab every opportunity that I can get, and to step into my most authentic self. That was my mission during that time. But now that I have my own family, now that I have my baby, now that I have my husband, it's a different mission now. So I have these small missions that I pursue every so often, but my vision has always been the same. So two things. The first one is to really ask yourself, in your season of life right now, what are the purposes or the missions that you want to achieve? So maybe you can narrow it down to three things. Like, do you want to, for example, build your business? Do you want to build your connection? Do you want to be more healthy? And try to achieve those three things, and then keep that in line with the overarching theme and purpose of your life. For me, my overarching theme and purpose in life, my vision in life, is to really glorify God with everything that I've got. And it's very simple. I love God, and through that love, I learn to love others as well. So I ask myself, whatever my vision is, for example, even if it's I want to be the best podcast host in the entire Philippines. That's my mission, right? That's the actionable thing that I'm doing. But I always keep it in line with the bigger purpose, which is, how can I do that small mission, and still glorify God and still love others? So I hope that kind of gives you a perspective on what you can be doing to do that as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Joyce. It's really about knowing your purpose at the end of the day, and looking at your options, at the different choices that you have, and making sure that you're choosing whatever it is that contributes the most to your purpose. Okay, now we have another question here for Miss Ayin, and this one is about your journey. So you have been under the spotlight when you joined Miss Universe Philippines 2020, and all eyes were on you. So I can just imagine gaano kagrabe yung pressure then outside. So how were you able to handle that? And can you share what was the most challenging of the whole journey?
The most challenging part of the journey was filtering what I would listen to, because as a beginner, I was very aware that I had so much to improve, and I was like always reminded of that. Like every single day, I was reminded that I was a beginner, I was somebody going into this with no experience, but I needed to remember that not every advice is valid advice. And so I had to figure out, okay, who do I listen to? What's their intention? Because I realized na if you're under the spotlight like that, especially in a country like the Philippines where pageantry is basically the national sport, medyo mahirap siya. But it was also a phase in my life where I learned to listen to myself the most, because during that time I was clouded with so many perceptions. I had so many people telling me I was too this, not enough of that, to grabe literally every single part of my body na hindi naman ako sanay na parang, ano bang pake niya sa triceps ko? But all of a sudden, that was an issue. So for me, I really looked inward, like my voice. What was my purpose going into this competition anyway? Like, why am I here? Why do I want to be seen? Because I had many moments where I was like, ayoko na, sana like, not even kidding, and I don't want to make light of the situation, but I said, sana magka-COVID ako so I have an excuse to go out of this competition. As in, like, meron akong ganong moment na parang, oh my gosh, ayoko na talaga, because it was so bad. But sabi ko, the more people tell me that I don't belong here, the more I should be here, because it brings me back to my why. The reason that I'm here is because people are not used to seeing women like me competing in platforms like this. And so I need to be here. Kailangan ko tapusin to. And yun, I learned to listen to myself, my purpose, my why, and see things through.
Thank you, Miss Ayin. Kaya talaga maraming nakarelate sa'yo when you talked about positive self-talk, kasi it really came from experience. We have last two questions here. So the second to the last one is, in your opinion, for both of you, what is the biggest obstacle or roadblock that is stopping us to reach our goals? This is from Renzo Celis. Again, he asked, what is the biggest obstacle or roadblock that is stopping us to reach our goals? Miss Joyce, would you like to start?
Yeah, I guess, it's so tied in with what Ayin talked about today. The way that you talk to yourself, the narrative that you have within your brain, and the way that you perceive the world, your worldview, those are things that profoundly affect how you are and profoundly affect the way that you'll be able to achieve your dreams. I think that's also one of the most understated, kasi we always think na I'm not able to achieve my dreams, I'm not able to go through these challenges because this person has stopped me because of these negative comments, because I'm not presented with the right opportunities, etc., and I'm not invalidating those things. Sometimes those really are true. You are not able to do anything because of specific outside situations and circumstances that you're faced with, but at the end of the day, there is power in our free will. There is power in our ability to talk to ourselves. There is power to create opportunities for ourselves where opportunities have not presented themselves. And I think Ayin's journey in Miss Universe and in creating her content is a great example of that. A lot of people told her you can't. A lot of people told her you shouldn't. But she did. And she just had the courage to do it. So because she wasn't willing to let herself be victimized by what other people are saying about her, she was willing to create her own narrative. She was willing to create her own definition of what a beauty queen looks like. And I think that in itself is a good thing. I've also experienced that in my own life, wherein when I started out hosting, A funny story is I never spoke English until I was maybe 8 years old. Laking tondo ako, public school ako, wala akong alam sa mga bagay na to, wala akong pamilya sa showbiz, wala kaming connections. When I started out showbiz, we were so poor, I had to borrow heels from a friend of mine, and those were the only pair of heels that I had for like 2 years because I didn't have any money. And so many people when I was starting out was saying, wala kang future dito. Unang-una, plain yung face mo. Pangalawa, hindi ka naman magaling magsalita dahil, hindi ka naman galing sa mayaman na pamilya. Wala kang kakilala sa showbiz. Wala kang paparatingan. And I heard those things and it hurt me. But I didn't let myself be defined by those things. So know what gives you definition as a human being. Know that you have intrinsic value and bank on those things. Because if you let yourself be defined by what others think of you and what others say about you and by what your circumstances are, you'll constantly be a victim. You'll constantly be a victim of what your experiences are and what you've gone through. But you can change that. I'm not invalidating the pain that comes with that because I felt that pain. I'm sure Ayin also felt the discouragement in those experiences. But we go past that. We grow and we tell ourselves, no, I'm a son of God. I am a child of God. I can do better things. I can do great things. So, yeah.
I love
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Joyce. Oh my gosh, ang daming nagko-comment dito na parang na-inspire na sila. Parang biglang nabuhayan ng mga loob. Miss Ayin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Joyce. I think the biggest barrier is our self-limiting beliefs, na minsan tayo sa sarili natin, pinipigilan natin yung potential natin, like what we could be if maalis lang yung mga yon. So for example, like, I really admire Joyce for sharing kanina, the mission to be the best podcast host in the country and to share that openly, to be able to say that out loud. I think that is a mindset that everybody should embody because you need to speak your dreams out loud, your goals out loud, and claim those things. One of the questions that I always tell myself is, why not me? And I hope a lot more people ask that. Kasi parang, di ba, when you say, I'm gonna join Miss Universe, like most of the time people would say like, bakit ikaw? Why not me? I want to be the best podcast host in the country. Why not me? I want to be the most impactful teacher I can be. Why not me? And when you reframe the question, bakit ako? Sino ba ako? To why not me? You allow yourself to think out of the box, dream beyond what's already been done, dream beyond what you've been told you can do. And like before nga, diba, wala tayong beauty queen above 5'3", below 5'4", ganyan. And I was there trying to be that girl. Sabi nila sa akin, like, what makes you think you can do that? Nakakita ka ba ng beauty queen na 5'3" lang, ganyan kaliit? But to me, it's like, yeah, okay, it hasn't been done before, but why can't I be the first? So ask yourself, why not you? Why can't you be the first? So, konting tiwala sa sarili, konting pangarap, at konting just open your mind a little bit and see. And maybe, like, just try to, how do I say this? Like, entertain the possibility that you are the one to do it.
Amen. I agree with both of you. Very important points that you have raised. Minsan din kasi talaga, we are our worst critics. We are the ones blocking our own road. So it's very important that we put our trust in ourselves. Okay, we're down to our last question. Pwede po bang mag-extend? I'm sure a lot are asking for an extension, but we're down to our last question. And this one is, I'm sure, very close to both of your hearts. Since as World Vision child sponsors and child ambassadors, the question is, how did that choice help you to determine your personal goals right now? Yes, Miss Ayin.
Okay. Yeah, that question just brought me back to the beginning of my sponsorship journey, because I became a child sponsor actually when I was fresh out of college when I got my first paycheck. Tapos, I was not like a content creator. I was struggling myself, but I knew that I had the privilege. And my privilege was my education. My privilege was my support system. My privilege was having the upbringing that I did. So even though I was struggling as a fresh graduate, minimum wage, hustling dito, hustling doon, commuting, at the end of the day, there are children out there who didn't have the privilege that I did. Like, the privilege to have comfortable education. Kasi kami, even if we were struggling as a family, my parents never gave me like that burden. I never felt it. I didn't have to think about it. So I really tried to find like an organization that would reach out to those children specifically, because I felt like, bakit ako pwede kong ma-experience yung ganitong pribilehiyo and others can't? So that's why when I started, I sponsored one child, and then after nun, medyo nahirapan ako. hindi ko kinaya kasi, early 20s, medyo hindi ka masyado magaling mag-budget. So I had a time na I couldn't afford to sponsor anymore. But nung after the pandemic, medyo nabiyayaan ako, and I was able to grow my following on TikTok. I was able to join Miss Universe, and my career and my businesses bloomed. I went back to World Vision actually, and I was surprised that when I did my sponsorship, may tumawag sa akin, and then they were like, "Oh, we actually nakita namin yung file ninyo na you've been sponsoring since 2015 or 16." And I was like, "What? You guys remember that?" I was just so touched because, I feel like I've always had World Vision at the back of my head, even though I was not capable of sponsoring at that time. 2016. So, ang saya lang kasi nung binalikan ko siya, nung I was capable of giving more, yun lagi kong sinasabi na parang, pag dumating ako sa posisyon na I have more to give, then I will. And I realized that my sponsorship with World Vision was not like just something na I did, something that was just cut off from my salary every month. It was something that was monitored and something that was really affecting people's lives. In fact, when I posted about this like on TikTok hours ago, people were commenting, Ate Ayin, my siblings are under World Vision. Ate Ayin, I also work for World Vision. Ate Ayin, and I was like, wow, I'm just so, I just really love that I get to be part of this, and that I've been part of this since the beginning. And it really shows, and it validated yung what I've always known. It validated what I've always known, na no matter how much you have, there's always something to give, there's always something to share. And if you are blessed, there is a place to give, and it does have impact. So yun, I'm just really honored to be here and to have all of those experiences within the last few hours. As in, sobrang daming information na dumating sa akin in the last few hours. And yeah, I just feel like ito talaga yung it allowed me to do what I wanted to do na hindi ko ma-figure out before, which is to reach out to have tangible impact. Kasi diba, as a content creator, I can only do so much from the internet. Like, it feels like a screen. But with World Vision, I can reach out and actually have people on the receiving end. And I think it makes it all worth it. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to be part of this family. And I'm gonna do my first on-ground choo-choo tomorrow. So I'll be with you guys tomorrow. So yun, ayun lang. I'm just like, this is such a good place to be. So yeah.
Thank you, Miss Ayin. Miss Joyce?
Welcome again, Ayin. Sana makapag-outreach tayo together, no? Let's do that soon. After your first one. I think being a child sponsor, apart from having an impact on one human being's life, which in and of itself is profound already. I think one of the most important thing that it has also taught me and changed in me is to remember that it's not about me. That might sound cliche and simple, but I think in the kind of society and digital world that we have right now, it's so easy to get lost in yourself and in your own career path, in your own comfort, in your own successes, and forget that there are people out there who need help. There are brothers and sisters and young children that need our assistance, that need our love, that need our care. And being a child sponsor and being a part of World Vision has taught me that, has reminded me that wherever I am in life, now that I have a family, it would be so easy to just focus on Liam and say, my baby is healthy, my baby has a nice home, my baby has a beautiful, beautiful life. And I could just focus on that. But being a World Vision ambassador and being a sponsor reminds me that some children don't have that luxury. Some children look at what a comfortable home is, a safe home, a home with water, with clean water, a basic education. They look at that as luxuries. But in reality, that's a right that they have. Every child deserves that. It's basic. It's basic that they have clean water. It's basic that they have a safe home. It's basic that they get education. Why do some of us just sit around and look at that and be like, too bad? So being a child sponsor reminds me that you can do something. You can defocus from yourself and your comfortable life and the things that you're doing and your successes. You can do that simultaneously and still give and love intentionally and serve others and have purpose for the work that you're doing. You can have a salary that's just enough to take care of your family and also just enough to share to others. It reminds me that it's not about me. I'm not the most important person in the world. It's so easy to think that we're the most important people in the world. I'm not saying that you have to not take care of yourself or not love your family, but I'm saying that if you have enough for yourself and for your family, then you can overflow to others. And being able to do that gives me so much joy, and being able to extend that gives me so much peace. And I would like to encourage everyone again. I'm not just playing when I say go to worldvision.org.ph. I'm really encouraging you guys to do it, because not only are you helping others, you're also helping yourself. You are reminding yourself the beauty of giving. Giving to others gives life to you. That's a part of the beauty of the process. So that would be it for me.
Raffle, thank you again, Miss Joyce and Miss Ayin. I'm at loss for words because I'm really, really inspired by you, and I'm sure all our listeners, our viewers right now are inspired as well. And thank you so much for sharing your child sponsorship stories. And most people think na pag nag-sponsor tayo ng bata, tayo yung nagtatransform ng buhay ng bata. But actually, it also goes both ways. Our lives are transformed, our perspectives are changed, and we become more grateful, we become more aware of how good the Lord is in our lives. So thank you again for being a testimony of that, and World Vision is very blessed to have both of you. Once again, maraming salamat to our inspiring, empowering speakers, and of course sa ating mga participants for being so active in our sessions. That's the end of our Q&A session. I'm sure marami pang gustong magtanong kay Miss Ayin at kay Miss Joyce. So, well, I'm sure you know their social media accounts, but we will ask them to plug that later. Kasi for now, we are excited naman to announce our 3 lucky winners of the pre-draw raffle for our Zoom registrants. So, the prize is a girls can shirt. So, kung napapansin niyo yung shirt ni Miss Ayin kanina, yes, ayan, she's flexing it right now. This is a shirt that our 3 winners will be receiving. So thank you, Miss Ayin, for flexing that. And now we will announce our winners. So our winners are... There you have it. Shireel Mar, Marie Grace Bernuth, and Joy S. Bautista. Congratulations to the 3 of you. You won. You will receive a girls can shirt. And World Vision staff will contact you after this webinar for the prize claiming details. Again, congratulations, Shireel, Marie, and Joy. Now, to those who also want to have that same shirt, don't worry, you can avail it through the link in our comment section. We will be putting them down below, and also through the QR code flashed on your screen right now. So that's actually me on the photo. Wala lang, flex ko lang din. Okay, the link to that is on our comment section. So feel free to visit joytocart.com to buy that shirt. So the proceeds will support our livelihood programs in the communities that World Vision is supporting. So may shirt ka na, nakatulong ka pa sa communities ni World Vision. Ayan, now before po tayo mag-shopping sa Joy to Cart later, lastly, isang huling request. Can you comment in our chat box and let's all manifest this? I will #break the bias and be the wellness champion for myself. Yan, pat on the back. I will #break the bias and be the wellness champion for myself. Medyo mahaba siya, no? But we would really appreciate if you can type them in our comment section, in our chat thread. Or if not, kahit a heart or like react man dyan, so that we know that you are joining us in this movement of breaking the bias and empowering women and girls as we celebrate International Women's Month. Now, before we formally close our webinar today, may I call on Ms. Ayin to have her final message to our active participants today. You can also plug in your businesses and also your social media accounts.
Yes, again, thank you so much, Caroline, and thank you, World Vision, for having us. I was really inspired by this whole session, and of course, Joyce's talk as well and her insights. I would like to, a final message to everybody. I hope that you take whatever we discussed here and apply it to your life so that you are empowered to take care of yourself so that you can take care of others as well. Again, highly encouraged to sponsor a child with World Vision if you haven't already. As for me, you can find me everywhere on social media. That's Ayin Bernos. I also have a podcast called Camp Confidence, and my recently launched business is Kayu Beauty. I'm wearing the lipstick right now, so if you guys are into that beauty kind of thing, yeah, we're on all the e-commerce platforms. Yan lang. Thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you all soon in person, face to face.
Thank you, Ms. Ayin. God bless in your engagement tomorrow with World Vision. Now, Ms. Joyce.
Oh my gosh, Caroline, kinabahan naman ako sa engagement with Ayin. Akala ko naman kung may big...
Guys, I wish. Oh my God. Where is my ring? My finger is feeling there.
Ano ba yun? Naghihintay na ako, Ayin. Parang may announcement pala bigla.
With World Vision pala yun.
Yeah, no, oh my gosh. But yes, thank you again, World Vision, for having us here today. Thank you to Ayin for the wonderful talk that you shared with us on the importance of positive, encouraging, empowering self-talk. I guess a final message for everyone is to really learn to fill yourself up so that you can overflow. That is the main theme that we have here today. The importance of filling yourself up is so that you can overflow to others. Overflow in your most intimate relationships, overflow in your families, in your communities, and overflow in our country. You know, I think one of the most profound things that I eventually learned as I became older, oh my gosh, I'm turning 29 this year. I cannot believe I'm turning 29 this year. Anyway, that's a side note. One of the most important things that I learned is the fact that we cannot be good to others if we aren't first good to ourselves. And that's not selfishness, you know, it's really being mindful and intentional about the way that we live our lives. And to remember that no matter who you are, whether you have no followers or 2 million followers, you have an impact in this world. And the earlier you understand that, the earlier that you understand that you have intrinsic value, that you have the power to impact the lives of others, the better, because then you will conduct yourself in such a way. I feel like so many of us flail through life aimlessly and without purpose because we don't understand that we have an impact. Wherever you are, whatever your career path is, whatever your circumstances are, you have the chance to impact the lives of others. So do remember that. Do remember to fill yourself up and overflow good, beautiful, gracious, loving things to those around you. And if you'd like to hear more, as if I haven't spoken enough already today, you can hear me speak more at Adulting with Joyce Spring. That's my podcast exclusively on Spotify. You can also check out my website, joyspring.com, and follow me everywhere on social media at Joyce Spring. Thank you, everyone, and God bless you.
Thank you again, Miss Joyce and Miss Ayin. God bless both of you more. We are so excited to see more of both of you. Maraming salamat po. And of course, to our partners, sponsors, blogger friends, viewers, thank you so much for joining us in today's webinar and as part of the World Vision family. We hope that today's session has encouraged you guys to be the wellness champion for yourself. We also look forward to keep our Panatang Makabata with you to deliver our promise of hope, joy, and justice for all children. Again, if you want to avail our Girl Scan shirts, you can find that through the link in our comment section or by scanning the QR code flashed on your screen right now. And there you have it. Also, to receive your certificate of attendance today, please don't forget to accomplish our post-event survey. The link will be found in the comment section as well, and also in the chat thread here on Zoom. Yan. So again, two things, the Joy to Cart and our post-event survey link so that you can receive your certificates of attendance. Thank you again, everyone. And until our next Social Development Academy session, happy International Women's Month. Have a blessed evening ahead. Bye.